Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome back to another F1 2019 game experiment with 1 million R&D points and maxing out a career mode car. We've done the Williams, the original car we did this experiment with. We've done the Red Bull then, the highest potential max car we thought at the time, and we also did the Mercedes to see. Now, before moving on to the Ferrari, I'm doing the Racing Point car today, because one of you guys in the comments below said that the Racing Point actually might top out higher than the Mercedes and the Red Bull. The Mercedes was 1016 on the R&D chart, on the kind of, basically, the I don't know what the actual number equates to, but basically the graph, the way it values it, is 116 for Mercedes. The Red Bull was 118. Now, apparently, the Racing Point goes higher than that. So here we are today, once again, with 1 million R&D points, and we're starting a Racing Point career mode here, and we're going to try and max out the R&D tree of this car. Obviously, we start off with the usual, getting all the efficiencies for every single department on the chassis side, the aero and the engine, and doing the first few bits of upgrades we can do. The Racing Point team have major upgrades to start off their aero package with, and a major on the engine side, so that will take already a wait till the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for those to come in, unfortunately. The only thing that will get done straight away is the chassis side of things, which is a one minor, basically. So it's actually quite a slow process to start off the R&D here with Racing Point. You can see that at the start, Sergio Perez finishing in P13, myself in P18, so there's a long way to go before Perez naturally can get first place in a Grand Prix with this Racing Point car, and for my simulation obviously to be dragged up. Of course, you guys know the simulation always trying to encourage the player to play, so it always does you dirty, basically. But here we go then, as we go through the sequences, we go through towards Azerbaijan, basically. We get through those upgrades then, those major ones on the aero and the major on the engine. We can finally delve in. Once you get past that first layer though, on the aero side of the Racing Point team, a lot of the upgrades then go down in a straight line with two either side of that tree branch, and the contract we got straight away from Racing Point at the start of the career mode was for 2 simultaneous upgrades and for the minors to be reduced by 1 week. So that was really good for us, that we could kind of delve into that straight away, and I'm hoping already we can get a better contract at Azerbaijan. You can see there, Sergio Perez now is getting points in the simulation. I'm P15, so we've moved up a little bit, but you saw previously on that R&D graph there, we've already streaked ahead of everyone in the midfield, and we're going towards Red Bull. And thankfully, after Azerbaijan, we do get level 2 on the upgrade speed to reduce the major upgrade speed as well. We only have level 1 though in simultaneous development, so we can only develop 2 parts at a time in one department, but the major and minors all reduced by 1 week, so we can really now start to move on and get into this R&D tree as kind of as deep as we can, basically. So we're going to go through then and skip towards the French Grand Prix. So that is another 4 races after Azerbaijan, the next contract negotiation period. And just before France, you can see now we're only 3 levels in to the chassis side, because it's quite an annoying tree, actually. It goes single file and then has these kind of one tiny little branches that don't really progress you too much to other tiers and deeper into the tree. So that was a bit frustrating, whereas the aero side for the Racing Point was really quick. But now you can see at the French Grand Prix, we've got to a level where Sergio Perez is now getting simulated first place. I'm in the points now in the simulation, so the car is getting to that point where it is now the fastest car on the grid already. We've beaten Mercedes, we've beaten Red Bull, beaten Ferrari now by the time we got to the French Grand Prix. And as we move on to the German GP, you can see we're really getting into it now with the aero side. We're actually quite deep. We're pretty much at the end of the aero tree, essentially. Like, we're maybe 2 upgrades off from purchasing those ultimate upgrades right at the end of the aero side of things. The engine, we still have a few more to go, which surprised me, because I thought, being a Mercedes engine powered car, I thought there wouldn't be actually much of the tree to go on the engine side. But I'm actually getting quicker through the aero and the chassis than I am the engine side of things, which makes some sort of sense as well, because Racing Point, obviously, in the midfield, in real life as well, they always need to kind of upgrade aero. You always feel like they're lacking aero and just chassis side of things rather than the engine. But also at the same time, would have thought that would have meant that the tree would have been a little bit longer for them, and to get deep into it would have been longer. But the fact that it's spaced in a straight line in a 2-row column is really, really easy for us. So by the time we go through another contract negotiation, we're now at the last level pretty much of the aero. I've left off some smaller minor upgrades on the aero side of things, and the same with the chassis. I've left out some majors. You can see as we go through, there's a lot of miners that I've left out that we could have gone along the way, but I thought I wanted to kind of delve in, get to the ultimate upgrades as quickly as I can, purchase those, because those are going to take so long. As we purchase the 3 chassis ultimate upgrades in one foul swoop, so all 3 in one go we purchased them, so real big plays there. That's going to take all the way till the Russian Grand Prix, and we're only, you know, I think the Hungarian Grand Prix right now, just after it, the Belgium Grand Prix. You can see we're already streaking now almost the distance of the entire field spread from Mercedes down to Williams. We're that much ahead of Mercedes, but now it's a big waiting game. But we wait it out, and we get to the Russian Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix, and you can see now we have completely finished off the engine side of the upgrade tree. That's actually the part of the tree that got reset for the R&D for Season 2. That's why it's in grey. So we've repurchased all those, and now we purchase the final 2 minor upgrades on the aero side of things, and we have 1 major wait to go on the chassis, and then we can purchase the final ultimate upgrade of the chassis. So if it wasn't for that annoying final ultimate upgrade on the chassis side, we probably could have got this car maxed out in 1 season, but this is probably going to take us and wait us over into Season 2. So we're probably going to have to do the testing at the very start of Season 2, but you can see now we're getting towards that 1,000 region, but we're not done yet. As we go through to the end of the season, all the upgrades are done. We've literally only got 1 performance upgrade to do, and it's 1 measly ultimate chassis upgrade. Purchased it, there we go, and it will come in for the Australian Grand Prix. So we're going to move forward to the end of the season then. Of course, we did a great job. We were getting second places every single race after the car was capable of getting first. And actually, interestingly enough, Lewis Hamilton mid-season transferred to Racing Point. The Racing Point car was so good, and obviously it's a kind of Mercedes affiliate, I guess, in the game. It kind of just thought, okay, Hamilton, he needs to be in a championship winning car. So he is actually now my teammate for this Season 2 career mode now, and he was actually the one winning the races then in the back half there. But here we go. There it is at the Australian Grand Prix Season 2. We've maxed out the Racing Point car. You can see how narrow that aero tree is. So that's what I was talking about. You can actually go really quickly down the tree for the aero side, whereas the chassis is so awkward. Kind of like you've got 3 different branches branching out to dead ends. Very, very awkward for Racing Point. But for the engine, also kind of streamlined, but also a little bit slow because a lot of major upgrades rather than minors. But there you go. The Racing Point car has topped out. Now, I assume the scaling of the graph goes to the maximum where we are. So you can see there, it's topped out on the scale on the left-hand side at 1,021 points, which is a whopping 3 more than Red Bull. I say whopping because the Mercedes car topped out 2 less than Red Bull. So compared to Merc, the Racing Point car, another Mercedes power car, but a midfield Mercedes power car, tops out 5 points higher than the Mercedes Works team. This is, I don't know what the kind of the logic of where each team maxes out to, but this is very interesting that Racing Point seems to be now, well, it is until I test on the cars and see if any of you guys know, but right now as it stands, I can now say we made a mistake then with the Red Bull car. That was too early. We need to do some more scientific experiments, you know, to like real life science. We had to actually keep on going here because we couldn't conclude, you know, definitively that the Red Bull was the highest maxed out car. It's not. The Racing Point car is the highest potential career mode car as it stands here. So that is very exciting because I said the Mercedes car, the maxed out Mercedes in that video, if you watched it, it also looked better than the Red Bull. It drove better than Red Bull. I felt it was so much smoother on the aero side of things because maybe the aero is already so good, but I felt like the engine was also so much more overpowered than the Red Bull maxed out car was. Obviously a different circuit we did it at, but we did the Red Bull challenge with the maxed out car at Canada, which should be in theory an easier track to overtake at than Abu Dhabi. So I'll be curious to see now the Racing Point. It maxes out higher than both those cars. It's got a Mercedes engine in the back, so it might have some kind of characteristics pulling over from Mercedes in terms of how OP it is in a straight line. What's the aero going to be like? The aero was quite quick and rapid to do, so maybe is it going to be a decent car? There's a lot of chassis work. There are 4 ultimate chassis upgrades on this car. So does that mean this car is going to be so comfy mid-corner as we're rotating the car base in terms of the lightweight nature, the tyre wear, the distribution of the weight? I potentially think it could be, and this could really be the ultimate feeling car in career mode. Let's find out as we go now to a 5-lap race of the Australian Grand Prix at the back, and we're going to see how this car drives. And after what we've seen with the Red Bull Mercedes, I'm very excited to see how this car drives. Here we go then to 5 red lights to this Australian Grand Prix. 5 laps ahead of us in the maxed out Racing Point car. And it's a bit of a slow start. I recorded this video before the 1.15 patch, so the AI still had the OP start. So we send one down the inside of 4 cars that will be there of Fiat and the McLaren it is now with the driver transfers here in this career mode specific save that we're doing for this experiment. We're now up into P16, round the outside of 2 more cars, maybe even 3 as we're we're going to try and overtake Carlos Sainz, that is, in the Toro Rosso. You got Magnussen in the other Toro Rosso, so a lot of driver transfers in this career mode save. But here we go now, down another 2 cars there, that is. We have to let off, though. We can't overtake Norris in the Haas there, because that was going to be probably 3 cars into that corner, which is usually flat out in quali. It wasn't going to work out there, but we get the job done eventually. And so we're literally, that was the end of Sector 1, and we're up into P11. We've gained 9 places in 1 sector. This racing point car, I can tell you, felt on rails. I thought the Toro Rosso that I've got maxed out in my personal vanilla career mode, I thought that was great and on rails at some tracks like Brazil, for example, and other circuits. But this thing, it was absolutely insane how early I could pick up traction compared to the AI here, and how quickly I could move the car around the outside and then dodge it to the inside like this. We narrowly don't overtake Holcomb over there. We get up into P10 by the end. We're not even at the end of lap 1, and this car just feels already awesome. And look at this speed we've got compared to the Renault there. We literally fly past. It's almost like I've sped up the footage compared to the rest of these guys. It's a bit of a joke here. And here we go now. Sergio Perez here. We're going to overtake him in the Haas. He was in this Racing Point car. He could have been enjoying this, but Lewis Hamilton completely yeeted him out of that seat then very early on in Season 1 to drive this car for himself. And he's out there on the minimap there. You can't even see him on the minimap because he's completely waltzed away, of course, in this maxed out car. But we're up into P8 now, and we're going to make a horrendous dive on Lance Stroll, who's in the Mercedes car, no less. And we make a brilliant little overtake there, and we just basically fly through like the apex isn't even there, basically. And now we come through and catch Sebastian Vettel. We've not got DRS yet. It's only lap number 2, but look at this speed we've got as we go through on the outside of the Ferrari car. No match there, and we're up into P6. We've got Bottas fighting a little bit with the Red Bull car. Leclerc right behind them in P5. We're going to catch up to him on the main straight. Here we go, another easy overtake in a straight line there. We could even catch Bottas then by the end of the next straight. Then DRS also available. We fling it through into turn 1. I can get on the power so early through the exit of turn 1. There's no wobble. The chassis just makes the car grip and stick to the circuit. And we're up into P4 now as we get Valtteri Bottas. And now we're behind Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull car. And you can just see how much time I'm gaining each acceleration zone, basically. Now we come through full throttle there in 6th gear. And we come through just about make it through as Gasly squeezes us to the grass hand side. But we get it done to the inside there. And we're up into P3 of this Grand Prix. And now we have a bit of a gap to chase after Max Verstappen. But he is basically the final car there. And we're up into P2. Of course, Hamilton will always get P1. He's in the same maxed out car, and he's not had all this traffic here. So we're catching up to Verstappen now, but just look how quickly I caught him in 2 straights there in the first sector. And you know what? I'm going to probably try and do what I did at Abu Dhabi. If you remember that, I think I did it against one of the Red Bull cars. I think it might have been Verstappen as well. When I drove the maxed out Mercedes car, what I did was I intentionally put it into none and lean mixture to show you guys how overpowered this car is in comparison. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to go down to none and lean and intentionally try and slow down this car with lower fuel, low ERS, well basically no ERS, and you can still see how quick this car is and how quickly we're going to catch up in the slipstream, especially obviously with drag reduction upgrades on the car. We're just gaining, and we're going to try and gain even more time because the downforce is going to be mega off this fast chicane. Great exit there. DRS, open it momentarily. I close it again just to show you without DRS even, we're able to go around the outside of a Red Bull car. Remember, this is a Racing Point car, and we're so easily having a battle with a Red Bull here, and we go around him very easily then and leave him some room, but we get the job done up into P2. And now I'm going to put it back up into Rich Mix and back up to hot lap mode, and you'll see how quick the car is at full pelt. Watch this. As we go through the final corner then, we're going to look behind us and just watch how quickly we drop this Red Bull car. Verstappen is probably sat there with his jaw dropping in the cockpit like, what on earth has that car just done? It's like the VTEC is fully kicked in there as we go through that final corner. So there is the fully maxed out Racing Point car. Hamilton wins the Grand Prix, of course. We're going to come through in 2nd place there. He actually gets fast after the Grand Prix, so Hamilton's AI, OP as ever. And you know what? This was a scenario that we didn't have. Remember when we had the highest, when we thought the Red Bull was the highest max car, and we went to Austria and tried to do the sub 60-second lap time. And I said in that video that if Hamilton's AI could get in that Red Bull car, it probably could go under 60 seconds because I feel like Hamilton's AI driver is the best and fastest AI driver in the game. But look at here. We've now got the actual highest maxed out car, as it would appear, the Racing Point car, higher than the Red Bull, and we've also got Hamilton's AI in the Racing Point car. It could not get better in terms of a scenario on display here in this experiment series. So guys, if you want me to do the Austria challenge and attempt it once again, and maybe hopefully just this time, just maybe with this car and with Hamilton's AI, maybe we could see it legit get under 60 seconds around Austria with a maxed out car in career mode. Let me know if you guys want to see that, and I'll make it happen as soon as I can. But that has been this video, the maxed out Racing Point car. It was a pretty decent journey, actually, quite quick, actually. The Racing Point, you know, it's a midfield team. I thought it might take 1.5 seasons, but the aero side of the tree was really quick. The engine was okay. The chassis thing, the chassis side was the one that kind of bogged us down a bit, but we got there eventually, of course. And I can safely say it feels like the highest max car. Like, it really does. It felt better than Mercedes car. It was like on actual rails. It was a joke. So absolutely enjoyable to drive. Really fun one to make, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, be sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.